All right, everybody, welcome to our May meeting here for the Grand River Woodturners Guild. I don't have much on my business list here. We have the great woodturner Greg Gallegos here for our demonstration and for our workshop after the meeting. We do have an empty seat at that workshop that's been paid for. If somebody wants to stay and take it, you're welcome to. The person who can't make it has already paid for it and has not asked for a refund. So you can take this workshop this afternoon for free if you want. We want to welcome new members. I know there's a couple of them here today that we've seen and talked to. If you are not a member and you're thinking about being a member, our current dues are $35. That's for the year, and that covers all these wonderful demonstrations that we've been providing. If you're curious, if you're interested in being a member, see Pete this week. He's our treasurer. Our membership person is gone, so Pete will handle that portion of it. I don't think I have too much more in the way of business, so let's get started with show and tell. What? Hang on. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, who is our new member here? Marty? You want to stand up and tell us about yourself? Okay, you're new to this. All right. Yeah, welcome. Okay, let's get started with show and tell. If you can grab your pieces, come down from back. It's the right side of the room, and put your piece on the table here. Here's a little monitor so you can see what it looks like, and tell us about it. Let me see if I can get this on the other side here. Let's see if we can put some light on this. Speak into the mic and tell us your name.
Jim Doan. I just brought this because this is the first piece that I threaded with my thread chasing, and it worked pretty good. So, and the first one I did a rough surface with a Dremel, so turned out pretty cool. So there you are.
Morning, Tom Sampson. How's that? Oops. So we've got another lidded bowl with a finial. This one has 3 axes. The 2 axes up here on either side. Let's see, maple, a mesquite lid. Lacquer finish. Oh yeah, it's curved as a feather if you couldn't tell.
Good morning, Ron Vincent. I have a small resin and live oak burl pieces in it. Opens from the bottom. And a small platter. And that's marbling. And that's what we'll be doing next month for the demo. It's because of the lacquer finish. It's just 3 different colors of resin. And there was a giant solo cup that I used for the form. Yes, I used a pressure pot after pouring. And I usually let it set. This is a Lumelite, and it's just a regular, not the slow pour. And I usually let it set for a couple hours before I put it in the pressure pot, let the bubbles naturally release as many as I can, and then stick it in the pressure pot. And then it took probably 4 days for it to harden up enough where I could turn it. And everything has a lacquer finish on it, rattle can. So I don't have Doug set up for spraying lacquer. So that's what I've got today.
It's a little cherry burl that was growing down by our mailbox. I looked at it for a few years and finally stole it from a neighbor and put it on a faceplate, turned it, quit turning when it got really a little on the dangerous side, saturated it with epoxy, pre-cat finish. I hand carved the bottom, actually. I cut it with a router and then textured it with a hand tool. Well, that's a tough one to follow. I'm Pete Meyer. I'm from Traverse City. This was my first attempt at pouring pewter. This was a rough cut oak piece that I had soaked in alcohol overnight. Just a month ago, this was a wet log, so it really speeds up the drying time. And Ron told me I need to seal it or it's gonna oxidize, so yeah, we'll live and learn. Everything's an experiment. These other two, this is a cherry and this is maple. We had an empty bowls event up in Traverse City and our club had 4 mini lathes set up. We were turning bowls and showing the people there at the event kind of the method that we use for making the bowls for donations. And I had a couple of them that really turned out kind of nice. I thought, okay, I'm gonna bring those home and show those off, but yeah, they'll probably be donations for next year. We had a record attendance and got rid of all the donated bowls. Previous years, they've had to store them and bring them back, but. This is cherry, and it's a black gesso that I painted on the outside of it. This was kind of a quick turning thing at the event, and when I got home and was looking at sanding it, I thought, probably should have gone a little thinner. And I thought maybe I should texture it or do something, and I thought I'm gonna paint it black first and kind of decide, but it looks kind of cool, smooth. I may still end up texturing it or doing something, adding something to it, but we'll see. Kind of fun to have something to experiment with, you know, in the shop for a slow time, but that's all I got.
Good morning. Paul Jablonski from North Muskegon. I know this is turning, and I do turning. I do a lot of segmented turning, but my shop is in the process of being upgraded and, you know, with electrical and heat and all the rest of that. So in the meantime, I decided to learn the process of the actual process of French polishing. So I use a lot of, can you see this? Oh, I use a lot of veneer, and like this is, you know, this burled veneer, like you would see on a dashboard of a Jaguar or a Mercedes or something, you know, it's pretty nice, but when you put a finish on that, it has a lot of open pores, and then you see that, those ripples and all of that. And my wife happens to like super glossy. She wants to see her face in this stuff. Anyway, so here is the end result of this is the end result of real French polishing, where you actually use, I mix my own shellac from flakes, and then you use alcohol. I use 190 proof Everclear, and then I also use olive oil and walnut oil, and then you make a pad, which about the size of your thumb, and they refer to that as a rubber, and you use that with one finger, and you start off with that pad, and you use what's called pumice, which is volcanic ash, and you start using the alcohol and the shellac and the pumice, And that actually sands the wood, and the dust from the sanding then fills in the pores. So you're actually using that as the actual wood of the, whatever you're finishing, you're using that as the filler. And then you keep building up layers and layers of shellac, and it takes forever, but it's what they've used since the 1700s, like on most of your old, the Stradivarius violins and a lot of your Spanish guitars and they use a method called French polishing, and this is it. So even though right now my shop's in disarray and I'm not doing turning, I decided to, I could still use my workbench, and so I decided to use it to learn something for flat woodworking. So thank you.
Okay, it looks like online, Ruby, do you have something?
Okay, so I'm not at home. I'm in Kansas with my grandkids, and I just had some pictures of a couple things I've made over the years for them. This is something from Christmas time. I did the turning, very simple, just some cherry and maple and I think a piece of ash, about 1 inch diameter, 4 inches tall, simple shapes. And then my daughter decorated them with faces and used hot melt glue to put on some hair and things. But my granddaughter really enjoys playing with them. And then the other thing I have to show, this is based on a design that Tom Penninga makes. This is a bread knife. The cutting blade is actually blades that they use for bread slicing machines like you'd have in a bakery. You can buy those on Amazon or other online sites. They're very sharp. They work really well for hard crusts like you might have on a sourdough bread loaf. And just a little bit of turning in them, but I thought a really nice design that Tom put together, and I just copied that. And that's all I have. And go ahead, Ruby.
You might need to unshare your screen there, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't think I've showed this group this one. This is Egbert. Egbert died last Friday. Fortunately, he wasn't beaten, so he landed sunny side up. He's now on a better plate.
Oh, jeez.
You have to have a sense of humor. And then I started making these tops, and I'll warn you, if you start making them, they're highly addictive. Now, I thought this one was maybe too heavy because it was out of oak, and I didn't think it'd run that well. And surprisingly enough, I had one of these turning, and it lasted, we timed it for 3 full minutes.
All right.
So it was, they're very popular. I even took them up to the nursing home, and the patients there enjoyed them. So that's it. I think I already showed you the cupcakes, didn't I?
Yep.
Okay.
I did a class with Laurent Nicolot last week, learning to turn miniatures. I haven't turned anything this small for a long time, nor have I turned a lot of things for a long time. My shop has been sort of mothballed. This is a hollow pumpkin, and it's finished with milk paint. Still needs to be buffed out. It'll have more shiny surface, but I kind of like the dullish looking surface because it looks like a pumpkin out in the field. If the lid will come off, it is hollow. And that wasn't drilled, that was actually mined out with a hollowing tool. That's what I've got.
Anybody else online there, Dave?
I don't see any others.
Okay, we're going to take a quick, probably a 5 or 10 minute break, and then we're going to come back here and get Greg Gallegos on for his demonstration.